This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I'm your host, Jason Bishop, and with me today, as always, is probably a little hoarse, Trish Conklin.
I'm doing not too bad. Not too bad.
And doing same as usual, Sam Stepanenko.
Yeah, hello. This one's my fault.
I don't know if it's your fault. My childhood, I loved this movie, and now I feel bad.
Yeah.
I never loved this movie.
If we're both sounding a little gravel, me and Trish, we were at a concert yesterday, so...
A super awesome concert.
Please bear with us.
So good.
Got the super sexy, deeper voice today.
There you go. Let's tell our international users about who you saw, because they're amazing.
That's true. They're Canadian favorites. Everybody in Canada will know the Headstones.
Hell yeah.
Hugh Dillon, I have actually used in my casting in the past, which I think was... What was that?
Class of 1984.
Class of 1984,
Yeah.
I think I used him in. And he's a accomplished actor in his own right, but they've returned to their roots in the band. And when they start saying, "Oh, we wrote this thing like 28 years ago," I'm like, "Fuck, I'm old."
I know.
But yeah, Headstones, man, they still got it. They are awesome for international listeners. Please go check them out. You will love them. They will blow your fucking minds.
Absolutely. And the songs of our youth,
yeah, and
that's so amazing.
Just before the show, before you guys got here, I was rocking the new album from this year, and goddamn, it's
still got it.
Awesome.
It is still awesome, yes.
They super still got it.
Yeah,
There's a plug, Hugh.
yeah,
Listening.
Yeah.
So send me a T-shirt.
It's amazing. They were just so good.
Yeah, it was a good lineup in general for the Halloween Howler. Not the Great Eagle. Jesus, it's plugs. No.
I know, yeah, it's plug day. Well, then might as well just do the Vito's, which we saw, which we really enjoyed.
Yeah, Vito's out of Vancouver. Really cool. They pretty young band.
Yeah.
I don't even know if those guys are even in their mid-20s yet, but they're getting there, and they got a nice kind of modern punk sound to them.
We're sitting there listening to people who probably weren't alive when the first Headstones album came out.
Yeah. And then another big band, Big Wreck, was played, and they played 2-3 of my favorite songs on that I know, and then a solo that went on for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And then everybody went into the hallways and smoked. And
well, no, we didn't smoke in the hallways. We smoked outside.
Outside, but yeah.
And then there was One Bad Son, which we're enjoying.
Yeah, One Bad Son. I only got a few songs. They were all right. They sound like
they
lot
have a retro feel, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, they do. They were all right.
But yeah, so lots of screaming, lots of woos. Hugh Dillon, what an amazing, showman. Holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. But you don't want to be front row because he spits a lot.
Yes, he does.
There's a lot of chew while he was doing his show, and he'll spit on you.
Yeah, he's still punk as fuck.
And then, he throws his drink out in the audience. He is really punk.
Goes out into the audience, comes back, and then we realize he's on that, because they had the setup, there's a stage on the other side. He's on the stage on the other side singing while the band is on the other side.
That's right. I saw him leaving, and I kept seeing the chord being raised. I'm like, where the fuck is he going?
And then we look behind us, he's over there. It's like a hardcore Where's Waldo.
It was. That was our concert last night. That was pretty fun. Hopefully.
And lots of good costumes.
Yeah.
Amazing costumes.
By the time you're listening to us, this is first week in November. We're easing out of Halloween now, and we thought we'd give you a horror comedy this week with Transylvania 65000. Thank you, Sam.
Financed by,
I just blurted it out as I was walking out the door. You're the one who leaped all over it when I blurted it out, so I'm not taking the whole blame.
That's true, but I thought I'd seen it. I got it mixed up with a different movie. I thought it was 976 Evil. And I'm like, I had seen that one. I'm like, that could be fun. And then I realized, I'm like, I have never seen this movie before.
Oh, yeah. I can see how you got there.
Yeah.
I can see how you got there. I'm sad for you, but one, because you had to watch this movie. And two, because you did get them mixed up and were excited about something that it doesn't bear getting excited about.
No. This
Even though the cast is fucking amazing, except for Ed Bagley. I know you hate him.
Yeah, no, let's get into the cast here. Transylvania 65000, which is a play on an old song called Pennsylvania 65000, but they were trying to do a pun off this old song that fucking, I doubt even in the 80s anybody would have remembered.
Well, it's a big band hit.
Yeah, because the joke had already been made on a Bugs Bunny cartoon, so fuck you weren't the first.
Yeah.
But yeah, Transylvania 65000, 1985, written and directed by Rudy Luca, who also wrote Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Oh, see, I
Explains
like that one.
quite a bit. And he's actually in the movie as well in a short moment as Lawrence Malbut. We'll get into that. Movie stars Jeff Goldblum,
Yay!
Hey,
Joseph Bologna.
Bologna.
Yeah.
Bologna. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Ed Bagley Jr. Gotta say, he's all right. I was never a fan of Ed Bagley Jr. in the 80s or any time, but gotta say, he was actually pretty decent in this. Carol Kane, who's always funny.
Oh, love her.
I love Carol Kane.
Along with John Byner,
Yep.
who
Is
most
more
of
of a
our
Canadian icon.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
Canadian icon. I don't think a lot of people are going to know him outside of Canada, but he had a long-running kind of
Sketch comedy.
Yeah, sketch comedy show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Bizarre.
That's
Yeah,
it.
and it was
Which-
definitely
Bizarre.
more. Yeah, well, I mean, they did bizarre stuff like the name, but
Yeah.
this was an 80s sketch show, and in Canada, we didn't have as strict as laws of the U.S., so there was
Yeah.
like nudity and stuff in those
Oh, yeah.
episodes.
Yeah.
And so it was,
Very
yeah.
appealing to prepubescent boys.
Yeah, that's right, because
Yeah.
you got to think of my age in the 80s.
It's like Canadian Benny Hill.
It
Yes.
was, yeah, in a lot of ways, yeah.
And also the launching pad for Super Dave Osborne.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he did come out of that.
Yeah.
Because he do a stunt usually at the end of each episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's one every episode.
That was
yeah.
pretty much why I watched Bizarre, because I love Super Dave.
Yep.
Jeffrey Jones also in this, and Geena Davis, who had never met Jeff Goldblum until this point
Yep.
in her career, and holy hell, was that costume something?
Yeah.
It was something, all right.
And then they did like 2 other movies together, like around the same time.
Yeah, well then, yeah, they were in a lot of stuff after this, but it wasn't because of Jeff Goldblum that she's in this.
yeah.
She just got the part because
Just
she
the
could
part.
do a cool Bella
Transylvania
Lugosi accent kind of
Yeah.
thing. And that's how she got the part.
Yeah.
And then we just got a whole slew of Geena Davis, Jeff Goldblum movies for a little bit.
Which of one we do talk about in a previous episode.
Yes, go check out episode 100, which is The
Yep.
Fly.
That's an easy one to remember.
That is. I didn't have to look that one up.
Yep.
Also of note in this movie is Michael Richards, pre-Seinfeld, and pre that thing.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. You
Well,
know what
Jeffrey
I'm
Jones
talking
pre
about.
whatever he did.
And Norman Fell. Norman Fell's in this for a
Yes.
brief moment as the boss of Jeff Goldblum and Ed Bagley Jr.
He's Ed Bagley's uncle, actually.
His
Yes,
dad.
that's right.
Dad, sorry,
This is
his dad,
Yeah.
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 And they are basically reporters for a trashy newspaper. They don't really
Tabloid.
Tabloid. It's basically a tabloid.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum has standards, but really is not willing to do a lot of the work. Sends Ed Bagley Jr. out to do the work, and he's just stupid. And, you know, when I watched this, I couldn't help but thinking about the episode we did when Sam was away, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A similar idea with like the monsters. Are they monsters?
With the
What's
twist.
happening? Yeah.
With the twist. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one because I had to really sit and think of an angle to even bother remaking this. Leonard Maltin's review of this movie. I can sum this up. Let me read this verbatim. It sucks.
I've been Leonard Maltin.
I've been Leonard Maltin.
Yes. Yeah, and he's not wrong. There's lots in there that could make it a lot of fun. It's just a question of how you handle it.
Yeah.
But I mean, this movie was never intended to make money.
No, because
No.
it was financed to get rid of somebody.
Yes, this is a U.S. Yugoslavia thing. So it was shot in Yugoslavia, and there was this company that had
Dow Chemicals.
Dow Chemicals, and it had frozen assets. It could not spend the money outside of its own country. So that's what this movie was for, was to spend that money.
And then recoup that money through as much as they could through the
Distribution
distribution and so on.
Yeah.
And they made their money and a little bit of profit. A little
Yeah,
bit.
budget was $3 million. It had an opening weekend in the U.S. of 2.5, and
Ooh, opening weekend, that's not
and a
bad.
final U.S. gross of a little over $7 million. So they certainly got their money back.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably didn't spend a shit ton in marketing. There definitely were TV ads and things, but maybe another $1 million. You know, they definitely kept the money and managed to move it around like they wanted to,
and maybe came out with a little bit on top.
Yeah, a good breakout for what became really well-known actors.
Yes.
I mean, all of them were pretty. If anything, I think Ed Bagley Jr. might have
He was
actually
one of
been
the
the
most
biggest
well-known.
ones, and it was Jeff Goldblum who recommended him for the film.
Yeah.
Because I think Ed Bagley had done a lot of TV work up until that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was seen elsewhere at that time.
He would probably have been the most recognizable because of television.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum had a few films under his belt as well, but he was
Yeah.
pretty young, and I wouldn't say he was out there yet.
Well, The Big Chill was only a few years earlier.
Yeah. Oh, I guess maybe he had some hits already at that point. So
Yeah, and I think they were counting on
Jeff Goldblum getting the distribution.
Yep.
Yeah, they're at least getting some minor name recognition to get some people some asses in the seats, as it were.
Yeah.
And I think it clearly worked.
Yeah.
Because they did have a moderate successful film.
And I
Yeah.
think to some extent Norman fell just in a small role. Because people knew him, Mr. Roper, very beloved character.
But the one thing I came out of this, I'm thinking of like 1985 and watching it. I'm like, even for 1985, we've covered lots of 80s movies now, and it still feels old. It feels really old school.
It does. And I think that was maybe on purpose, part of the whole conceit of the Transylvania 65000 or Pennsylvania 65000, that sort of old school feel, to sort of pay homage to that 40s classic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was like they're kind of going for an older screwball comedy type of idea. I think that's what the feel was supposed to be.
It was a send-off on Universal Monsters in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I mean, the initial conceit was they got this video of what appears to be Frankenstein attacking a guy through a door, getting some vacation photos in front of a church.
Yeah.
And they're sent to investigate whether it's fake or not. They just assume it's fake, and they're on this fluff piece. And they're going to Transylvania to ask about Frankenstein. And, of course, they're like, well, you don't want to ask about Dracula?
Well, it is.
I love the fact they all laughed when he asked.
Yeah.
There are some great moments in this film. On the whole, it's a piece of crap.
Yeah.
But there are some great moments.
But the mayor and the chief inspector of Transylvania are actually doing a cover-up. They do realize there are these, for lack of a better word, experiments running around that they don't want the town to know about.
Because
and they are fear-mongering. They're turning it into a tourist spot, and they are fear-mongering.
But
in a
it's
lot of ways,
Jaws
too.
mayor. It's the whole thing where we can't
Yeah.
have people know the terrible thing that's happening around here because we need the tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good.
Yeah, in a way, they kind of were also relying on that reputation of Transylvania, that tie to Dracula. So it's weird. It feels like a cover-up, but I think they're covering up the true part of it and wanting the monster thing to spread, because that's what brings the tourists.
Well, this is. I think this is in the 80s. This is kind of what they might. If this was pre that. Really kind of that tourism where people would go ghost hunting and looking after monsters, the cryptozoologists.
Yeah.
It wasn't I don't think as big then, so they didn't really think of it as that way, like to have the bad part of Frankenstein they wanted to cover up, but they're like, oh, the history of maybe Frankenstein was real is what they wanted, just the idea of it.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's a good segue. Let's run the trailer, and we'll talk some more about Transylvania 65000 and what the 65000 even means.
It began as a routine assignment.
Transylvania.
Where is that?
I don't know. It's over there someplace.
But beneath the surface
Transylvania's cute. It's cute.
of this happy land, horror awaits them.
I'm investigating Frankenstein.
You mean the monster?
And a terrible secret lurks in the shadows.
I'm terribly sorry. We thought you were an animal.
He is.
Now they're discovering the truth
Did you see Dracula?
Yeah, when it first came out.
about the creatures of the night.
Shut up, you lowlife. I am low.
I'm lower.
The curse of the undead.
Did you want to hurt me?
Hurt you? No. Bite you?
The terror of the full moon.
Oh, yeah, I'm going into town.
And the monster that science created
Full house.
but could not destroy.
Does this hurt? Does this hurt? Good. Everything hurts.
Jeff Goldblum. Ed Bagley Jr.
Hi, ladies.
Joseph Bologna. And Geena Davis.
Tell me you want me too.
For a good time called
Transylvania 65000.
It's good, huh?
Transylvania 65000. And what is it, Sam? What is a 65000?
Well, the 65000 is the phone number for the Pennsylvania Hotel in New York. And Benny Goodman did the song Pennsylvania 65000 about that because it was a big venue for these big bands.
Right.
So it was sort of a tribute to this great big band venue.
5-digit phone number?
Well,
this was in the 1940s.
It's the olden days. You'd call the operator and be like, Can you connect me to like Pennsylvania 65000? All right, just one moment, please. And then they plug in the thing.
Oh shit, we're gonna have to rename the title like 1614555392565. I don't even know what the international code for Transylvania is.
No.
I should have. Oh, we have a friend from there. I should have called.
Is it +44 to get outside of the country? I know 011 is the UK. That's all I got.
And more than I got.
Yeah, write it in the comments. So I can ignore it.
We'll
'cause I
figure it
don't
out
care.
later.
I don't care.
We never rate on him.
Let's just assume it's a bigger phone number now.
Yeah, exactly. Transylvania 976-5000.
There you go.
There, just to mash up the movies we thought we were doing versus the movie we actually did.
Yeah. Oh, that's what we should have done. I should have watched the other one, and then I did watch the Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Nice.
Just for fun?
Just for fun. And you might remember it. That's where he doesn't take that left turn at Albuquerque and
Always misses it.
winds up. He's like goes to the castle Dracula for instructions, see if he can find somebody to guide him, and of course he starts fucking with Dracula. Ooh, abacadabra. And keeps changing him into a bad hocus pocus.
And turns him into something else.
It's great.
Yeah,
That
now I
was a
remember
great
that one.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. 1960 something.
1963.
Yeah.
1963.
Yeah, and just when he's up somewhere, it's like he turns him back and he falls down.
Yep.
Loved
Yeah.
it.
Good classic Bugs Bunny. Go check it out.
I did do a lot of research on this movie simply because the movie itself doesn't bear that much talking about.
Yeah.
But the director had mentioned specifically that this was the tallest cast he'd ever worked with. Think about it. Jeff Goldblum
It
was
really
over
is.
6 feet.
Everybody was over 6 feet on this movie.
Jeff Jones, Ed Begley, Michael Richards. Geena Davis is
Gina
over
Davis
6 feet.
is tall.
Short on laughs, tall in stature.
Yeah. Yeah, when you take into account like Carol Kane and John Byner, they look even more minuscule in comparison because of the cast.
Yeah. Well, and they're hunched over as well. They're basically
it
playing
really-
hunchbacks, but they just have bad posture.
Yes. Which makes for kind of a weak joke at the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, but it's a joke that continues to go on and on and on
Yeah.
and on about almost everybody in the cast. I don't even know what the fuck Michael Richards is doing in this thing.
Oh my God, that's one of the first things I'm
don't
changing.
know.
Is what I mean.
I don't have him.
I did cast it, but I would probably just eliminate that outright.
Yeah, I don't have him.
Get rid of all the really bad. I'm trying to be a comedian jokes.
Yeah.
because they were all annoying. Every single fucking one was annoying.
Michael Richards, you're not a comedian anymore. You that ship has sailed. So
It's done.
let's just lay that one to rest. Whatever you're doing, good luck at McDonald's.
Well, no, just good luck with your Seinfeld residuals and just leave it at that.
Yeah. Temper.
Well, he can have those. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just stay away. But yeah, no, I didn't enjoy it. Was some of the stupidest stuff.
I'll be honest. I don't really enjoy Michael Richards as Kramer either. So I just find that particular character that he's well known for is particularly annoying.
That was the point, I think. But I like we discussed. Our
He's good at a
views.
pratfall.
Yeah. Oh, he's very good at a pratfall.
Good at
Yeah.
pratfalls.
But so are lots of people, and it doesn't mean that they're like. There's other people who are good at them and are also funny in other ways.
Yeah, I if anything, I think Carol Kane and John Byner do a lot with very little.
Oh yeah.
Like, the kitchen scene where they're supposed to just cut grapefruit. That's what's in the script. Cut grapefruit
fruit.
and serve.
Yeah.
And they added a whole bunch to it.
There's a whole thing in there. They just went nuts.
And it was fun. And again, one of the better scenes of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
anytime those two are on screen together, you do watch because you don't know what's going to come out of their freaking mouths.
Yeah, it's all ad lib too. I bet you everything in there was just ad lib.
Oh yeah, and it's a lot of it's improv. But what's funny when we're talking about like the hunching over thing, it reminded me of stuff we learned like on Status on stage, and sometimes like the making yourself smaller is a thing of being like lower status than other people, which I think they just really, really ran with.
Yeah, they're the servants to the mayor in this hotel that's being built for hopefully a tourist attraction.
Yeah,
Well, it's already a castle.
Yeah, that's being
It's a
refurbished
castle.
as a hotel.
Yeah. They're the servants, and they call everybody master. Yes, master.
Yes, master.
No, master.
I love that scene with John with Radu and Gil, where he says, "Don't call me master, call me Gil," and he's like, "Gih, gih, gih." Oh, just call me master.
He starts practicing with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Hello, Gil. Yes, Gil. Master's fine.
And they have the one bit where he's talking with Dr. Dr. Melavacqua. He's like, we've known each other for so many years. You can call me Ed. He's like, oh, yes, Miss. He covers his mouth. Stir. He's like, we'll work on it.
Yeah, and he comes in fairly late into the game, Dr.
Melavacqua.
Melavacqua.
Yeah.
Melavacqua. Wakwa.
It has a
It's
nice
a
ring
fun
to it.
name.
It's a fun name.
It is a fun name.
Yeah, and he has a great bit. And I love the bit where he walks into the lab, and it's like and he's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, every time he hits the threshold of the lab, he turns into mad scientist. He walks out, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's a normal dude. He's actually pretty
He's
nice.
nice.
He's
awesome.
really nice.
Gets through that threshold, he's a maniac.
Yeah, and I love how every time he walks through, he just pushes his head through his hair so he gets the crazy hair.
Yeah.
It's like genius. It was a great physical way of showing the change, and he did it every single time.
Yeah.
Oh, and the back and forth when he does it with Jeff Goldblum's Jack Harrison, and
Yes.
it's quite good. And Jeff Goldblum playing the straight man in this, it's just he go through, go back, go through, go back. It's like, this is so weird.
Yeah. You have to get him out of the lab so he stops being insane.
He's really the only one that kind of just stands back and kind of looks at the weirdness a lot of the times. And this is Jeff Goldblum, who's just naturally odd.
Yes.
He's the normal one.
He is the normal one. He's the Lothario. He's always he's got other things on his mind than doing his damn job.
He's the Bud Abbott.
Well, he thinks the whole point is he's working at this job that he believes is completely below him, and it's a tabloid newspaper. He believes himself to be a serious journalist.
Yeah.
So this is below him, so he doesn't want to work on it because he doesn't think it's worthwhile.
Yeah. When he finally gets to Transylvania, he meets another American, which is Elizabeth Olsen, played by Teresa Ganzel. Was she another journalist there?
No, she was there with her
Just-
child. She was on vacation.
Oh, okay. She was on vacation. I know she was there with the
Hiding
kid.
from her ex as well.
Yeah.
Right. And so, beautiful girl, Jeff Goldblum's. That's pretty much what he's going to do now. This is my vacation, and I'm going to hit on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just a lot of hitting on her. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, God, dude.
I like the fact it was so over the top, right? Because it didn't come across as slimy. It just kind of came across as desperate, which made it funnier to me. Because
when they're having dinner, and he has to explain why they're there, and she starts laughing and thinking it's charming, and then, check, please.
Yeah, she's like, I'm out.
out.
And she leaves, and I'm like, awesome.
Yes.
But there's another date. I'm like, well, wait a minute. What did that accomplish?
it
Yeah, I
set
know.
up the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
That's all it accomplished.
Because the kid has to disappear.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to go on another date in the forest, because, as you do, a nice picnic. Kid wanders off, and
And then Endgame.
yeah, and Jeff Goldblum has to go looking. That's when things popping out. But the only monster you really see early is Odette.
And Frankenstein's feet.
And Frankenstein's feet.
Yeah. And his arms in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how tall was that dude that he made everybody look small in that cast?
don't
I know.
He must have had some big lifts
Well,
on.
he had some platforms on.
Yeah.
You could tell he had platforms on. Which
But
is
how
fine.
big was he to
Yeah.
even in the platforms to in that cast to make them look small?
But you can still do, like, with shots and stuff, you can really
Yeah.
make people look bigger.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, so Odette's kind of hovering over Ed Bagley as he sleeps. And of course, he'll wake up and she's not there. And we're supposed to think she's a vampire. She's got the teeth in. She's got... I guess she's got the cape and the collar and the quite the V-neck down to her
belly button.
belly
V-neck.
button. Yeah, and they did a lot of side shots where I'm like, how am I not seeing nipple right now?
Tape.
Yeah, it was well taped.
You have to tape those in, and then there was like a little chain kind of keeping things where they are. There's a lot of tape.
Mysteries of the Universe solved
that's probably
on
why she was
Invasion
in
of
that
the
many
Remake.
scenes, because that was probably as uncomfortable as hell.
Oh yeah, and then like
She's not in it a ton,
then the
though.
80s hot thigh, like where the sides of things go up like way high on
for
your
how
hips.
ridiculous her outfit looked. It was still kind of sexy. I don't know.
Well, it's like
It
somebody
looks
said.
like one of those out of the box sexy Halloween outfits.
Yeah,
It
does,
really does. It's like the first one I think I probably would have seen. It's like, oh, well, you need a sexy vampire. Okay, sexy vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was definitely that. It
Yeah.
was definitely the sexy vampire. 80s version.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely 80s version.
Yeah, with her big fro hair and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe she's probably wasn't so much a vampiress as really wanting a lot of sex.
I think they do.
Yeah.
They do make mention of nymphomania, which she was
Yeah.
being treated for. I think, as well as other stuff. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. All these creatures that are showing up as creatures, they're all being treated by Dr. Malakwa?
Malavakwa.
Malavakwa. I'm getting it all mixed up now. Malavakwa.
There you go.
It's going to be a running thing, I think.
Oh yeah, it just
Malavakwa.
rolls out. I love how it rolls out of your face. It's great.
Yes, Malavakwa.
Malavakwa.
Yeah, so he's helping these people. I mean, he comes off as a mad scientist when he's in his lab, and he's doing these unorthodox things to help them. So Odette is really this girl who thinks she's ugly.
She has
and
self-esteem issues.
Self-esteem
Yeah.
issues. She's been treating for nymphomania and also had a nose job.
Yeah.
That was where her self-esteem issues are.
She has like serious body dysmorphia, I think, is the problem.
Yeah.
She believes herself to be ugly because she's fixating on like one particular, what she thinks is a flaw, and she's got some problems.
Now, there's a sequence where they go chasing after this guy. This gypsy gives them a lead about this werewolf. She says it's Lawrence Malbut, which is a Lawrence Talbot play on words, not even subtly. But it's actually, they should have been looking at Senior, not Junior.
Yeah.
Because another play on the actors themselves. They follow him and they hear growls in the bushes, and he's just getting naughty with somebody in the bushes.
Yeah.
So
We thought you were an
nothing
animal. He is. I did giggle a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, it was all right.
There are moments that are actually kind of funny. Not all of them, but there are moments.
Yeah, so when the real werewolf shows up, it's just some dude with that hair issue.
Yeah,
Or
which is a thing that does happen.
Yeah, they grow body hair everywhere.
Yeah, I want
so
some
he's
chicken
being
noses
treated
surgery.
with electrolysis, so he's got a bald patch on his chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's hairy everywhere
It's
else.
going to take a lot of electrolysis. He's
It's
just
a
maybe
lot of
concentrating on certain portions at a time, making sure that it doesn't grow back.
Right. There's a mummy. That's some gorgeous chick being treated for, how was it, burn?
No, she was ugly, and it was extensive plastic surgery.
Oh, it was extensive plastic surgery.
Yeah.
There's a bit where he's poking at the mummy. Does this hurt?
Does
this hurt? Does this hurt? And you just get a lot of nodding from the mummy. Good. It all hurts.
Good, everything hurts.
Everything hurts.
And then you have like a twisted guy, which
Yeah,
I'm like
they just
going,
called him Twister. I didn't know what that was up with that.
And I'm sitting there going like, well, just
He grabbed
move-
somebody in the lake. I'm like,
little-
what were you doing in the lake?
Yeah, like a little chiropracting. Just get that hand off his one leg and move it around, and then he's kind of normal.
Yeah.
It was.
And they don't really resolve him at the end.
They don't. He kind of just showed up
disappears.
for the one gag and then disappeared. Really.
And why was Odette kept in chains? Like everybody was caged up. The Frankenstein monster was, I think, a car crash, and he was really trying to help this guy, and through extensive surgeries.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he was left kind of monstrous.
I don't know. I think that was also that thing, and they make jokes about it, where like he's keeping her chained up to like keep the men of the village safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like how would be how a mad scientist would deal with sort of her disorders,
Yeah.
not how Dr. Malavakwa probably at his practice and is actually his hospital would have dealt with her issues.
Medieval medical care
Yeah.
in Transylvania, they just have terrible medical practices.
Yeah, like that's medieval shit.
Yeah, that's right. And,
It was in a lot of ways.
the monster had escaped as well, but he was a gentle giant. He was left speechless and
Because of a bad accident.
playing poker with Elizabeth's kid when the kid disappears, and basically keeping him safe from all the lunatics.
Yeah, he just found her wandering. He was just keeping her safe.
Yeah.
And I liked that bit actually where the child, as normal, the innocent child doesn't see the monster. Right?
Yeah.
She just sees somebody that's being kind to her.
Oh, yeah. And like when he goes to take her back to her mom, like she's like, "I'm tired." Like he's just carrying her.
It's actually a good scene where he's carrying her back into town and falls asleep, and then lays her on the ground. Everybody thinks this poor kid is dead.
He killed her.
That he killed her, and they're gonna burn this poor guy.
Which they still do, even though the kid's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The kid wakes up, right? But yeah, they're all like, yeah, burn it anyhow.
Yeah, no, that's where the fear-mongering comes in from the mayor,
The
Inspector Perchek.
Yeah.
Perchek? I don't even want it. Yeah, Perchek. I'm going to call him Inspector Perchek because the actor's name's even harder to pronounce.
Okay.
It is a very, very Slavic
Let's
name.
just go with the inspector.
I'm going to do it anyway because I like butchering names. Bozidar Smiljanic? Smiljanic. Smiljanic? Smiljanic. Yeah, because you don't pronounce the J. Smiljanic.
All right.
Smiljanic.
There we go.
Malavakwa.
Malavakwa.
If you're paying
When in doubt, we just
attention,
go back to
just
Malavakwa.
take a drink every time we say Malavakwa.
Don't
You
make this
are-
into a drinking game. We will kill you.
It's only going to get worse. We still have an hour to fill. Malavakwa. So yes, the hook is all these guys are misunderstood. They're not really monsters, but they're being accused and persecuted as monsters, and treated by the leaders of this town because they want to go back to that medieval fear mongering.
Yeah, which is actually like a real, like, to me is sort of an interesting concept, is where you think about when they talk about these monsters and where these monster myths came from, were probably disorders and things that people were just suffering from, which is exactly how like these monsters came to be. Like wolfmen probably were suffering from this hair disorder where hair grew everywhere. And like the vampirism, somebody had like there's one disorder where you're sensitive to light and you're low on iron, so you like appear very pale. So that's the whole kind of
it's a
point
blood
of it
disease.
all.
Yeah.
I think our working point, our starting point is that conceit, because that's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it's a good conceit. It's not executed very well, but it is a good conceit and that you can begin to play with.
Yes.
In a modern sense, we are kind of aware of it, but I think going to Transylvania, which I think in general Hollywood terms, people still think is a medieval city in some respects, with holding on to old traditions. I don't know if that's true, but I think that is the general perception. And I think that still holds true.
I think that it's a very common perception for like all of Eastern Europe. A lot of people still see them as kind of, I hate to say this, but backwards. Or in reality, they are very modern. They have everything that for the most part that we would see in North America. Right?
Like when people are thinking like Hungary, Romania, all of that area.
Just like every time you see Canada in a U.S. movie, they think we're covered in ice and live under in igloos.
And no Canadian is wandering around without a toque ever.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly Romania and Bulgaria are definitely steeped in tradition too, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where you play on it is tradition rather than them being backwards.
Yeah. Speaking of Canadian stereotypes, if you listen to our show and we're playing the A drinking game, you might have had a shot or two.
Yeah.
So I don't think we do it very often.
We try not to.
Well, and that particular speech mannerism is more of an Eastern Canadian mannerism.
And we say about the normal way.
Yes. Well, we're Western Canadian. It's not. That's the French influence.
Yeah.
It's not a boot. It is just about.
It's about.
It's not a boat either. It's not a boot or a boat.
A boat. I don't know. Yeah, it's just if you're going to talk at the Canadianisms, the fact that we're just kind of just being nice about this, we're like, we'll find something good in this.
Well,
that's us being Canadian.
We have done worse movies than this.
We have done worse movies than this.
Yes, and I'm interested in what angles we've got. So I think that is our basis. I think the strength of this movie is that misdirection and that misinterpretation of people as monsters. And, I guess we still want to keep it as a comedy. A title like Transylvania 65000 is just kind of ridiculous. Yeah. The pun doesn't work anymore.
No, it's outdated.
Oh, no. Like, it was outdated then, and we're talking 1940s. So, like, you're going back 80 years to get a reference?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know about what we do about the title, but without those numbers in there, it doesn't sound like it's a remake of anything.
Yeah. If the cartoon didn't have... If there already wasn't a cartoon of Hotel Transylvania, that's what I would have gone with.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. How do you identify it as a remake?
Mm-hmm. I personally want to get rid of the whole reporter investigation conceit. I'd like some other way to pull our characters over to Transylvania.
See, and I kind of would go with the people like, how people want to go. There's this conceit has been used in several other horror movies where people are like, they really believe that maybe these creatures exist and they'll go on a vacation to go hunt.
Well, and that is exactly that was about to say is that we have a built-in difference, right? Where we can send one of these reality paranormal hunting shows over rather than investigative reporters. Because let's face it, investigative reporters, especially tabloid reporters, they don't fucking go anywhere. They just write it from their desk and make the shit up.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I have my own approach. I'm gonna roll with these ideas for now because I have my own approach to how we get there, and it really informs my casting. So I'm just going to keep quiet on it for now because I'm going to roll with this whole reality thing. We do have a lot of paranormal investigation now. There are podcasts about it. There are TV shows about it. They're everywhere. So it makes perfect sense that we would have paranormal investigators heading towards one of the biggest places steeped in lore and just thinking about the ghosts of Castle Dracula.
Or they're just straight up cryptozoologists. They're not actually doing it for TV. They're just guys who are into this type of stuff. Or one guy is, and the other guy's going along for the ride.
Well, you have two experts. You've got you guy who does more of the spiritual stuff, who works in the ghost field, and then the cryptozoologist who investigates some of the other cryptids.
Yeah, you could add maybe another just third person who's like, you got to have that camera guy. You got to have the tech guy who's there with all the tech.
And the whole town is perpetuating this myth of what it is. Because, I mean, you think Transylvania, the first thing you think about is vampires.
Yeah. And it brings on like a whole new level to this where they're in some way exploiting these poor people for what they're using. They're just using them to create this sort of...
I mean, for the purposes of this film, let's assume that the biggest commodity of Transylvania is tourism.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Well, and I would turn what happened in the original movie on its head. I would have the mayor and the chief inspector using them to perpetuate the myths.
Well, I think that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to cover up the true aspects of what was going on with these monster sightings. Yeah, they wanted the monster sightings out there, but
they didn't though because they
didn't want them to get. They didn't want them investigated.
Yeah,
that was what they were trying to cover up. They didn't want the truth of what they really were to be uncovered, and that's what's going to happen in investigation. They want the rumors out there to go through tourism to build up tourism, but they certainly didn't want the true portions of that being
and
investigated.
That's the approach I would take and make that much more transparent because I got the impression from the original movie that they didn't want anything.
It really felt like they were trying to cover it up and then perpetuate the fear at the end. I'm like, your characters don't make any sense.
Yeah, and that was the problem. Is they didn't want the real monsters. They wanted the myth, and so anything that kind of fed and led any truth to those myths was too scary or whatever reason they thought in this convoluted script is they want the real creatures gone.
They were fighting against their own ends.
Yes, they were because it was self-defeating. But I would have them using these poor people, like having strategic sightings and scares and stuff like that to continue to build that myth, draw people in.
This in a way, this is a bit of that old movie Freaks.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think in a certain way, exploiting these real life oddities.
Yeah, and I would make the exploitation very, very transparent.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we always say there's nothing wrong with including a message in your film, right? And that would be a very good way of making sure that it's very clear that these people are exploiting these people with disabilities.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this does sound like we're going in a serious direction. I still want to keep it a comedy, but boy, let's actually do a comedy this time.
Yes.
Because they didn't last time.
No, and there are some...
They tried. It's
some,
just stupid.
Yeah, there are some great things that I would keep. I would love to see that same type of dynamic between Radu and his wife.
Yeah.
And there's that great scene where Gil's trying to break into the sanitarium, and Goldblum's character says, "What's
I like that.
Yeah, and it's like, prisoner trying to escape.
That was good.
That was good. And then when he was trying to get out, he's like, this guy's trying to get in. This guy's... It worked so well.
How he did it so simply is like, put on this bathrobe. Now get over there. Prisoner trying to escape. Takes him in. He's like, now take off the bathrobe. Give me the bathrobe. Now get on the wall. Somebody trying to get in.
Somebody trying to get in.
A simple costume change.
Yeah, I would definitely keep that part.
That was pretty good. I did like that. That's a good moment to keep. I would just erase Feos out of this movie entirely, even though he's in my casting. Just get Michael Richards being in there. It serves no purpose other than being annoying.
See, and I would make Radu an even more assistant-y type guy, like make him even more like the Dr. Frankenstein's.
I would just have Radu take over some of that, because I mean, he really felt like
I want him to be that.
Feos was just there to torment Ed Bagley Jr.'s Gil.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just realized that the actor I cast as Radu has already played this type of character. Oh well,
that's fine.
It's okay. But yeah,
maybe it's appropriate to have him play in a comedy.
Maybe it is.
Yeah, but yeah, have him take over that bit, because it just makes more sense, and it's just...
I kept him, but I wanted to change his role and make him way freaking creepier. I wanted him to be uber creepy. I wanted him to bring like...
I did, with my casting, I actually had a couple guys more known for horror for that couple. Yeah. Originally, I was looking at comedy duos, like husband and wife teams, or male-female comedy teams. And I'm like, well, I got a lot of comedy guys already in this. Maybe let's try to take somebody not known for comedy and more known for horror and do something really goofy with it, because, you know, having seen some of their natural personalities, this could actually work really well in a very different light.
Yeah, I could see that. It would be kind of funny. Sorry, when you're talking about like Feos, I was just thinking as well, you could have it where make him even more creepy, but have like the reveal at the end where like he's just an actor, like, I've done Hamlet, this is garbage.
Yes.
Like he's just
how
dare you use me in this way?
Feos isn't like a butler. He exists in these hidden passages in the wall to torment the guests.
He's doing a lot of the stuff to make everything creepy in the castle.
Yeah, he's kind of the effects guy.
Yeah, and have like the creepy bit where they'll have like a storm and lightning, and then you go outside, nothing's happening. It's just an effect that they're putting in the hotel.
And this may sound a little bit like our honeymoon episode.
It's not a little bit, but
just a touch.
Just a touch.
Just a touch.
Just borrow an element from it.
Yeah.
No, I like that, actually.
Yeah. And so it still has an element of what Feos was there for, to torment the guests, but not in such an overt, smell this, now smell this.
Yes.
And why he's sitting in a closet on a rocking horse, I don't even know.
Get rid of like just
the legs
stupid comedy bits. He's supposed to be there to creep them out, because the whole point of the hotel is a spooky holiday.
Well, you get that newspaper about where everybody is afterwards, and he does transition into comedy after the movie.
But I like the idea of him transitioning into like serious acting. The start in a multi-million-dollar Hollywood film or something like that would be funnier, or produced or directed.
I like it,
right?
And it still kind of works to my casting. Okay, I guess we just kept Feos.
Yeah,
we saved him.
We saved him.
But he saved the character.
Yeah. Right. And I think part of his other roles too is to redirect our guests away from the truth, right? So that's his whole purpose, is to make sure they never stumble upon what's really happening.
Yeah.
No, that they're just belief in the myth and belief in the scares, because the whole tourist attraction is you're going to this entire town, city that is one giant haunt.
Yep. Yeah, it's just a big haunted house. Like, and they're aiming for. We can have them even go there in October because they're like, well, we just this is our Halloween trip this year for a little podcast.
We get so much fun with Feos. Is you can have him at the sanitarium, right? He's actually an inmate at the sanitarium at one point, just to really fuck with their heads. Right, and in the straitjacket, walking around with his robe on. When
it's the only time you actually see him full on.
Yeah,
outside of the hotel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like it. So he's kind of stalking. He's the one that's kind of informing everybody.
Yeah,
he's stalking them.
Yeah, he's doing his job, is making sure that they're not finding anything out they're not supposed to find out.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Now, do we keep like the Mummy, the Twisted Man, the Frankenstein, the werewolf, the vampire? I think we should keep a vampire, werewolf for sure.
Vampire,
Frankenstein, and the
maybe, Frankenstein, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we could have some of the fake outs with the ghosts.
Yeah, you can have actually fake outs with ghosts where it's people that really believe that they're dead, which is a thing.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
a real
just convincing that these people that they're dead.
Yeah,
I like it. Oh,
like they're like, but the people are telling me I've been dead for 25 years. The person believes that, but they really aren't.
And then we can make better use of the sanitarium at that point. Then, right? Because it serves multiple purposes.
Yeah,
right. It becomes a venue rather than just sort of this side trip.
And this is where Feos recruited these people who think they're dead.
And have when the guy's in the sanitarium, a sanitarium can be a creepy damn place. So they also play that bit up with like lighting and creepiness.
Yeah, well, what ghost show haven't seen that haven't they gone to some haunted sanitarium?
Exactly. Multiple haunted sanitariums.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a thing.
Yeah.
So I think that would play really well. And that could give us some sort of inner turmoil for Dr. Malavakwas because have a drink. Because he's tormented by what's happening at the sanitarium, and that could explain his transition when he goes to his lab. It's his when he goes in there. That's why he switches off and becomes this really crazy kind of character. He's just right. Like there's got to be some sort of switch, sort of like.
He suffers from. I mean, he is a doctor in both. But he's multiple personality disorder, but he has a very specific trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all that experimental stuff.
Yeah. Science.
Yeah, and maybe his lab is in the sanitarium, so because that way you can kind of explain why he has no issues with what's happening there, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? But when he's outside of the sanitarium, that's when you get the nice doctor.
Right.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of like, you can use some of the people, and I'm like wondering how can we still do comedy sometimes when we're being really exploitative.
Well, and
I feel you should have some of the patients just be people who are quote unquote extras, like people who work in haunted houses. Mm-hmm. They're working at the sanitarium pretending to be insane.
The sanitarium is like attached to this castle. It's a portion of the castle.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that makes things a little
like
easier.
In the original Dracula, where they had the sanitarium that was close to where Dracula bought that church.
Right.
Yeah. That was a whole thing in the original.
Yeah. So everything kind of still plays if you're going to play off that Universal Monster stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe there's...
So when they escape, it's really easy just to escape into the hotel.
Yeah.
And into the castle that is being converted into
tunnel between the two. Right?
Yeah, and we know that because Feos is using them.
Yeah. And the doctor uses them too.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where he moves his patients from the sanitarium to his lab, where he does these horrible experiments on them and convinces them that they're dead and helps them become the monsters.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, we have the mayor and the inspector who encourage him to stay in the lab because he has the moral crises when he's not.
Exactly, and that's I really wanted that moral crisis there because I love the fact that he's a really nice guy in one aspect and then really terrible in the other.
You can have it where the guys, like the inspector is like truly evil, is like going, well, I want you to take me to the lab right now and show me that those people are in the cages, and he does it on purpose just to make sure he's in there.
Yes, and my casting for the inspector, I went with that particular type of character in mind.
I wasn't sure for the inspector. I hadn't casting because I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah, no, I knew who I wanted.
I totally didn't. I pooched that one too.
Oh,
I did.
Well, I guess we'll go with mine.
I guess
you'll all be happy.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're definitely gone darker.
I mean, comedies can still be darker.
Yes, they can be.
It can be a black comedy, but I say we have to at certain points minimize the exploitation just a little bit.
I think moving into a little bit of that Shaun of the Dead type comedy instead of the slapsticky stuff, because it doesn't really work anymore.
No, and actually,
and it didn't work then.
Yeah. It definitely didn't work then.
See, and I kind of, I don't mind going into more of a Tucker and Dale where it's just a misinformation and you misinterpreting what's happening.
And that was the direction I wanted to go, is this whole misinterpretation. But it's deliberate, right? It's not accidental like it was in Tucker and Dale. It's very deliberate on the part of our real villains, who are the mayor and the police chief.
Yeah, and instead of practical jokes happening on our investigators, they're buying into a lot of it. It's not practical jokes. It's the comedy of them reacting to perceived horrors that we would see in a traditional horror film, whether it be ghosts or Frankenstein or whatever. I mean, I think we should keep the core vampire, werewolf, Frankenstein.
Yes,
and I kind of like the sexy vampire thing.
Oh yeah. I do like that, and I think what you can have is there's that perception too with these people. Like with Frankenstein, I always felt very sympathetic towards that character. So you can have these people be like, they're looking for Frankenstein, but they do really have a real empathy. For these creatures, because they're like, you feel for them.
Yeah, I think we've replaced our Mummy with the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The people who think they're dead but aren't.
Yeah, and they just put them, they make them up like that. The poor person still believes it, but
yeah.
And I mean, because the Mummy was basically a duplicate of the vampire character, anyhow, right?
Yeah.
Somebody with self-esteem issues who.
It was redundant.
It was a little redundant. They only threw that in there to have the mummy and have the boob joke.
Yeah, you can actually have them zombies, and it's just oatmeal. It's stuck to their face.
Yeah.
When the poor inmate was having his breakfast, it just stuck onto his face when he fell asleep in his meal.
And they're like zombies because they've been kind of having their drugs for the day.
Yeah, and you could just do that in like little glimpses, right? Where our heroes, quote unquote, see them from a distance, and they're like, "Are those zombies?
Yeah,
they can't be zombies, right?" When it really is just zombified.
They're just shuffling along.
Along with
yeah. But you'll have I think you should like sprinkle it with a couple of like the couple of normal people who are maintaining so that these people don't get hurt.
Yes.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, and it's just one of those misdirects where it's not even set up. This is where it's one of the things that they didn't actually do on purpose. It just happened to work really well for them.
Yeah, and it is them reacting and coming up with the wrong conclusion because they're just surrounded by all this creepy
they're
stuff.
Out, and they're people.
It is Tucker and Dale.
It's kind of a Tucker and Dale thing, but these people, they find these zombies out here shuffling along, and like these other people who are in there, but they're doing it because then the other patients will follow them. But it's also how they get their exercise. So it's not about scaring people at that point. That one just happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're just like, no, they do better out in nature. We want to get them out. Interacting with animals and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to set it up so very elaborately, but you could have that one Tucker and Dale moment for sure. Yeah, they have more of those, right?
Yeah,
a ton. Yeah, I think have a ton of Tucker and Dales where it doesn't feel like you have it so strictly. The inspector and the mayor are being completely exploitative, and the doctor when he's in the lab, but everybody else is kind of just doing their thing because they do think they're trying to do the best for these people.
Yeah. Oh, what if they track what they think is a werewolf, and there's all this blood and meat, and it's just a meat packing plant that some shit got spilled outside or something.
Yeah, Ed just works there.
Yeah,
it was just cleanup. He just works there.
It's his job. He works there part time.
Yeah,
you have those moments, where they're following what they think are clues, and it takes them to some incredibly mundane thing.
Yeah,
right? Because again, we want most of their experiences to be deliberate on the part of the mayor and Fedek and the police chief. Mm-hmm. So, but you have those a few accidental moments, like the zombies and them leaping to that wrong conclusion. That could be fun, right? Yeah. And that adds that element of humor.
Yeah. And then they start running, and the zombies are running after them, but they're just running because they're running. Yeah. They think it's time to run.
That could play later on near the end game, right? And we need to see more. Like, I mean, the fact that most of our creatures didn't show up until like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
we need to see more glimpses of them.
I want more creatures. Yeah, you can't start off with this other crap and just have it. No, you have to have more.
Now, do we have the side love interest with Elizabeth and the kid? I think that it was still a half decent misdirect
You
with
do need
the
the
kid
kid.
going missing.
Yes, you do need that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's important, right? Now,
It doesn't have to be any more in depth than it is now. I think it needs to play better, but
yeah, they can play better, and I think maybe it can, instead of having the Goldblum character playing sort of the desperate Lothario, she's part of the team and she's brought her kid along, right? And they already have a relationship. It's one of those strained relationships, but they have a relationship. And one of the things about this trip is they're kind of working on that as well.
Yeah.
And he's getting to know her child. Right, so you can sort of change that dynamic a little bit, and then he's got a vested interest in the child beyond the fact that she's just the child of this woman that he's trying to bang.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that makes it more where he's really desperately trying to find this child.
yeah.
Exactly. Right. So
Yeah.
I mean, we can fit her in, but it's not shoehorned in like it was in the original movie.
Well, yeah, like and if you have her there as part of the team, it really
Yeah.
makes sense because you need more than 2 people for this team.
Yeah, I think it would be. Yeah, and it smooths all the rough edges out that way if she's just part of it.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe we have part of the strain be the fact that he, again, we've done this before, but I'm going to do it again. He's not really into her field of study. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get the fact that she's into the paranormal and monsters and stuff like
Right.
that. But he's going along because he really wants to understand her because he does care about her.
Right.
Right. So that's where we get that strain dynamic.
He could be like that tech guy who like tries to come up with stuff and sort of he's a semi debunker, but he still wants to kind of believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you do kind of need the straight guy.
Yeah, and that's because that's who Goldblum's character was in the original too. Is the straight guy who doesn't believe any of this shit.
Yeah.
Right? He's a serious journalist.
Yeah, when a lot of chaos is running around, he's just kind of standing there going, huh.
Yeah.
He's our surrogate. He's the one looking around at all this insanity.
Yeah. I mean, he speaks for the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a great way to keep him in that role, but add her in and still keep that relationship. It adds depth to the relationship as well, right? Like he's really not into this, but because he cares about her, he's there.
Yeah.
And also, it always felt to me that Elizabeth was randomly in Transylvania, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
But this way, it makes sense that she's in Transylvania.
Yeah. Cool. I think we got that ironed out too.
Nice.
We got our mayor. We got our monsters. Okay.
Yeah, and I think having the child in could add some great moments of humor between him and her, right?
Yeah.
She's really fucking precocious and smarter than he is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So he says stuff and she calls him on it for being stupid, that kind of thing, right? Because the precocious kid is always funny, even in dark stuff, right? So I think
I think when he tries to get romantic, that's when the kid always shows up.
yeah, like there's those moments too, right?
Yeah.
Where she's ruining the mood unintentionally, as kids do, right?
Yeah.
But make them funny, like crotch shots for all I care, right?
and at the whole point too, where when the kid disappears, the whole point of it is like just go off and fucking play, like, and that like he's at fault.
I want the kid doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think there's a certain amount of
Kid's
resentment.
smart like mom.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of resentment on her part because she doesn't want a new daddy.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, he still likes her, but he's just frustrated with her too.
Yeah, and that gives you that warm moment where the kid has to warm up to him.
Yeah, and you can have like the kid is the one who has the beliefs, like a lot of the empathy, like the monster's just being a monster. I don't see why you guys are so freaked out by it.
Yeah.
And so when she meets Frankenstein, she's like, "Why am I judging this guy?"
One more monster trope. We can make the kid kind of the creepy kid.
Village of the Damned.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah.
So blonde and
So
blue-eyed it
Wednesday
is.
Addams.
So,
a little Wednesday Addams.
Yeah, so the Gil character can be freaked out about pretty much everything around him.
Yeah.
You can have
your girlfriend's kid is fucking creepy.
You can have
It's just a
those random coincidental moments where the kid just wanders in, just happens to stand in the doorway when they're doing the lightning effect.
Yeah.
Vámonos.
Yep. Yeah, liking that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. It's a misinterpretation. The kid's just really smart and likes freaking people out.
Yeah.
And when the kid is the one who spots some of the effects because the kid's it loves horror movies and loves effects and likes thinking about that crap.
Oh, yeah, and can befriend Feos behind the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
starts
then
helping him.
Well, yeah, and then just talking to paintings on the wall.
Yeah, but she's actually talking to Feos.
And everybody's thinking, what is going on with this kid? And then you play into some of the supernatural movies as well. So that modern, because that's been the trends as of late. Are the supernatural movies. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, no, that totally works. Yeah, and so she gets involved in it. She's having a lot of fun, and she's just, as far as she's concerned, it's just a game because she's still a kid. Right. Doesn't realize the impact it's having on everybody else.
Yeah.
And she thinks being scared is fun, because this kid loves horror movies. She's like, being scared is fun. Monsters are awesome.
Yeah,
this is great.
And that we can have a little bit of somewhat of unraveling with the Goldblum character, the straight man, a little bit in that regard, because he's not buying a lot of the other stuff, but that's creeping him the fuck out because that's affecting his relationship with her, with the mom.
Yeah,
with Elizabeth.
He's like, how am I going to deal with this kid?
Yeah. Yes.
Nice.
Loving it.
We started off with going darker, and now we're bringing the humor into that dark, which is the way it should be done.
Yeah, you got to just you got to figure out how you're going to build and everything makes sense, and then you start slipping all that stuff in.
Yeah. And I mean the dynamic between Gil and I keep saying Jeff Goldblum's character,
Jack.
Okay, so that's where a lot of your humor is going to come into. Just like in Shaun of the Dead, where most of the humor was between the two lead characters, right? The dialogue between them was funny, right? And it wasn't slapstick funny. It was funny in context, right? And that's where you need to bring the laughs in, right? Their reaction to things, the way they interact with each other, because Gil and Jack are not friends, right? They're not. Jack even says in the movies, "I don't fucking like you."
Yeah.
Right. I think
Gil's
you're an
like,
idiot.
why not?
Yes, because poor Gil's a nice, goofy guy.
Yeah, he's a nice, goofy guy, but he's basically working for Dad.
Well, he's working for Dad, but I think he truly wants to believe that there's something supernatural out there.
Because he's innocent. He's childlike.
And but he wants to believe there's that magic and craziness in the world.
Yeah. And I think that, there's that.
And that
sort of
stays, I think.
That dynamic has to stay there where Gil likes everybody.
Yeah.
And is just genuinely a nice person.
Yeah,
and
so much
cynic.
stupid because he's our investigator.
He's naive, though. He's naive and sweet and kind and just wants to believe. He's Fox Mulder, but nicer. But and then you've got Jack, who's sort of your jaded cynic, right? Who just really can't handle Gil because he doesn't understand. And it comes out transparent, and you see him being snarky to Gil, and then Gil says something really kind and funny, right? And so we kind of make Jack look like a little bit of a dick at first, but he does in the original too. He looks like a little bit of a dick.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Jeff Goldblum's charm, every time he's on screen, you would really dislike Jack in this movie.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, you would.
And what's funny, actually, there's something just to go back to like the original that they made, Joseph Bologna, watching him be like the cool, nice guy, because he made a career out of being like assholes. I remember he played like a lot of jerks in his career, and watching him just be the kindly doctor and being nice to Radu. And I liked that dynamic, but then he went crazy, and I'm like, oh, I get that now. But I loved having him be a kindly guy for him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're in a great spot to start our casting. Now, when I did my casting, I had a very particular concept in mind. I'm going to stick with ours because we came up with some really good here.
And mine
it could
really
somewhat fit into what I did. But I have retitled my movie to Jay and Silent Bob called Transylvania 65000.
There we go.
So I've replaced Jack and Gil with Jay and Silent Bob.
Nice.
Jay and Silent Bob have had their stash stolen by Randall, who sold it to finance a trip to Transylvania because he just wanted to discover monsters. Because that's what Randall
would do.
It is totally a Randall thing to do.
It would be totally what Randall would do. And then we can just move it.
The next thing that Jay and Silent Bob would do is go get their fucking dope
They
back.
go back to go get
What
their shit
happened to
back.
Dante?
He had to work that day.
Okay, yeah. Dante's
knocked
at the
up
quick stop
Rosario
right
Dawson.
now.
He's a daddy. He's not going to Transylvania anymore.
Yeah. No, he's not going to babysit Randall this go around. So, my movie is directed by Kevin Smith, and it stars Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes.
Nice.
And Jeff Anderson is Randall. And Dr. Malau. I can't do it now. Malavakwa.
You have to sing it,
Take a
kind
drink.
of.
Malavakwa.
Yeah.
Dr. Malavakwa. Mark Hamill.
Nice. Oh, I like yours.
Trying to pull from his cast somewhat for my Hunyadi, who is the Frankenstein monster in... They named him Hunyadi. That's the character's actual name. Hunyadi. I went with Rob Archer. He's a giant of a man, mainly makeup guy, and he would tower over these guys naturally, even Jeff Goldblum in their 6'3". He's like 6'7" and built like a brick shit house. Frankenstein should be big.
Yes.
So that's with that. I love my Wolfman. For my Wolfman, just the guy with the hair problem, Matt Damon. Just hiding Matt Damon under all of his hair. Right.
I had some similar thoughts, but because of your Kevin Smith casting, I like it.
Yeah.
For my nymphomaniac vampire, I went with Megan Fox. The one time I'm like, this might actually be decent casting because she doesn't say much, but she looks hot. For my Feos, Jason Lee.
Okay.
And then I start moving away from traditional Kevin Smith casting. For Elizabeth, I went with, I can never say her name, Yvonne Strahovski.
Okay.
Strahovski?
From Chuck.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
welcome.
For my Radu, I wanted for Radu and Loopy to be somewhat recognizable horror icons. And in my mind, I kept thinking... I had a specific look in mind, and Bill Moseley fit that bill. So I went with Bill Moseley and Sherry Moon Zombie.
Nice.
Okay.
For Radu and Loopy, because I just wanted somebody, I'm like, I think they could probably play Goofy really well and have a lot of fun with it.
They probably welcome the opportunity to do it, too.
Yeah.
And it's funny, there was a Rob Zombie regular that popped into my head while I was doing my casting. I was going to cast Sid Haig in a role.
Nice.
But I didn't. I'm sorry,
Okay.
guys.
Well, since you're segueing into it, that was my entire cast that I had went with. So there were so many key members, and I didn't get to
I didn't
cast
get to
everybody.
some because I cut out some people, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I cast just about everybody except for the mummy because I didn't see any reason for casting her.
Right.
No.
Which is good because we cut that cast or character. So for my Jack Harrison...
I doubt anybody did Twister either.
Yeah, no, I didn't do
Oh,
Twister
no.
either. I completely forgot about him, actually. So for my Jack Harrison, I went with John Krasinski
Okay.
to play against Chris O'Dowd as Gil Turner.
Lovely.
Aw.
Lovely. I like that.
He's sweet. I
he
like
is.
it.
For my Elizabeth Ellison, I went with Amanda Seyfried.
Nice.
Nice.
For my Mayor Lupescu, I went with Paul Giamatti.
Nice.
Because I wanted that darker but also smarmy.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For my Radu, I went with Daniel Radcliffe, who played frickin' Igor.
Nice.
I didn't realize that until we were sitting here talking. I'm like, oh, darn. But it's fun because it's fun.
That's even greater.
Yeah. For my Loopy, I went with Aaliyah Shawkat.
Nice.
Yes.
Not
She's
familiar.
good.
Yeah, she's-
Sorry.
Oh, Arrested Development.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful actress. And I think she'd play great off Daniel Radcliffe because, well, she's that good.
Right.
For my Dr. Malavakwa, take a drink, Pierce Brosnan.
Nice. I like it. That's good.
For my Feos, I cast Bill Skarsgård.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely got it.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Nice.
a bump.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring him to go for. That's why I went with him because he can play that has that creepy look very well, but he also hasn't done comedies. So I'm like, yeah, let's see what he can do with it.
Yeah.
And all those Skarsgårds are freaking amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That's a
That's
crazy,
crazy talented
clan.
family. For my Odette, I went with Elizabeth Banks because she plays Loopy so well.
Right.
Sorry, there's a character named Loopy, but different Loopy.
Different
like
Loopy.
Crazy Loopy.
Yeah.
For my Madame Morovia, because I did cast her, I went with Lady Gaga.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I should have lots of fun playing.
I might have argued with that at some point in my life, but after American Horror Story,
Exactly,
no
right?
arguments with that. She's insanely talented.
I didn't think he would, and I thought it'd be fun to have her playing my Wolfman's mother because I went with Sly Stallone as the Wolfman because that voice is so recognizable. To have him all covered up and still that beefy Stallone character, I think he'd make a great Wolfman.
Right.
It would.
For my Frankenstein, I went with our throwback. I went with Jeff Goldblum as the Frankenstein.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, he's still freaking tall, so why not?
Sure.
For my Inspector Persic, I went with Liam Neeson
I like it.
because I wanted to play that.
He's got a very
dark-
particular set of skills.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's got to be the guy.
Yeah, I like him being a bad guy. We haven't seen that much as of late. So.
Not as of late. And then for my director, I know he hasn't directed yet, but considering he has done this type of stuff before as an actor and a writer, I went with Simon Pegg.
Nice.
Yeah, why not? I'm kind of expecting him at some point to transition into to directing, because he writes a lot of the stuff he's in.
Yeah.
I'm sure he ad-libs in the stuff he doesn't.
He has vision. Right?
He's got incredible vision, and with some of the people he's worked with, he's very capable. I think he would make an amazing director.
I think the only reason he hasn't directed is because he hasn't fucking time.
Yeah, well, he's definitely sought after right now.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, but yeah, I would love to. I'm thinking he has that dark comic sensibility.
Yeah,
clearly. So why not use him and then make this his first feature film?
That would be great.
Yes.
All right. Like I say, I didn't cast all of it because I was going a different way, but I like what we've done. So
Yes.
I'm going to miss out on a couple.
That's all right. I missed out on a few too.
Yeah. But I love your guys' casting. I don't know if I feel comfortable now, but it's okay. I will do it anyway.
We came up with the core conceit that's ours. So, I mean, when we do our casting, we're off on our own corners with a very different vision before we come together. So it's going to be different regardless.
and
That's why none of my Jay and Silent Bob came up during our construction, because I'm like, well, I'll pitch it, but this will be afterwards because I really like what we did.
Yeah, and fortunately, everything that we did fed
Still
into
fit.
my idea. Right?
Yeah.
Like, the vision I was having.
And it feeds in not as nicely into mine, but there's a lot can still work in
for sure.
my casting.
Yeah, some of my casting, I think it could still work. So for Jack, I put with Matthew Gray Gubler, who is he was in Suburban Gothic. He's on Criminal Minds.
Okay.
Okay, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah,
Yeah,
the guy with the
'cause-
long hair, kind of the geeky,
Sort of
guy.
longish, geeky guy. I'm like
Okay.
going, he's got a Goldblumish quality.
Right.
He does actually. That's a
Cool.
good pull.
And then for Gil, I changed Gil to Jill because I'm like, I just want to see somebody else, like a different dynamic. So I put Anna Kendrick in it because she's usually that eye-rolling
Cynic, yeah.
Right.
but I want her to be the sincere believer.
Right.
I would just love to see her do that. Dr. Malavacqua, I went with Jeffrey Combs
Oh, I love that.
because I
that
like
too,
him. And then Odette, this is kind of a meta joke. It's Birgit Hjort Sorensen. She played kind of the tall German person that they were fighting against in Pitch Perfect 2.
Right.
So her and Anna Kendrick, it's a whole thing. Like she's really into her, and it's a whole like kind of meta joke. The Wolfman, I went with Ray Santiago because like Ash vs. Evil Dead, I just like watching him do stuff. He seems
Okay.
fun,
Yeah.
and because I wanted to beef up the Wolfman role, I would like to see more of him.
Is your director Sam Raimi?
No, my director is
okay.
different.
No, okay, we'll get there. I was just like thinking about that casting. I'm like,
Yeah, and my Hunyadi, Derek Mears.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Derek
Tall, big
Mears,
guy.
tall, big dude.
And I didn't do Radu and Lupe because I'm like going, I didn't really know what to do with like the husband and wife team, so I kind of made it Redupe. Made it one person.
Redupe?
Redupe. Sean Whalen. He's got a kind of a different look. He was in Hatchet 3. He was like the coroner guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then for Elizabeth, I went with Kat Dennings.
Okay.
Because I kind of like her cynicism, and if she's part of the team, this totally fucking works. Like I could see her being like the paranormal investigator. It would be awesome.
Right.
And then for the mayor, Jared Harris,
Okay.
who's in Poltergeist, I can see him being creepy and being like, we are going to, and I'd like to see him do some comedy. And the inspector Toby Jones, who can also do comedy.
Toby's great. And again, a good pull there.
He's very good. For my director, I got this because I was watching XX. The segment that she did, I thought was really well done. It's St. Vincent, and she did like the segment in XX called like the birthday party.
Oh, it was so much fun. You did watch it, eh?
Yeah, I did.
We'll talk about that one next week.
But it's because like the ending of that whole thing is the birthday party, but like, or how the worst memory from like Katie's 7th birthday party, or what she blames her mom for, which really wasn't her fault. Like it's kind of a humorous take.
It was funny, yeah.
So I think it's like she'd have some good comedy, and it's a very distinctive look that she's got going on in her directing.
Yeah. No, that's a good pull. That's a really good pull, actually. If you haven't seen it, Jay, watch it.
It's good.
I still might. I got a couple left to watch for 31 Days of Horror. As of this recording, it's over for everybody now. But yeah, we're going to be talking about it next week. So I'm very much looking forward to having that conversation.
Kid, I thought about casting, but as we all know, we have trouble casting kids.
Yes, yeah. And we obviously didn't do that because whatever, child star in the moment, because they see children so short of a period.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look at Stranger Things. I mean, even now they're already getting almost too mature to play their roles.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's
they
only
might
been
be able to get
like,
one more series out of them before, as they're turning into teenagers.
Exactly.
Well, they'll be teens at that
Yeah.
point, but it will probably be time to move on. Maybe if they, I don't know how that show's gonna keep going with that cast particularly, but
Who knows?
maybe it is going to be just a 2-3 thing, and we're out, and we'll leave a good impression while we're here.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
all
right.
those kids are going to go on to some great adult acting roles.
Absolutely.
I hope.
Yeah, I mean, even Dustin's character, his voice changed so much between the end of filming
Yeah.
and reshoots that they couldn't they couldn't do reshoots with him.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's insane,
Yeah,
right?
they're all going through puberty
Yeah.
now, so.
That's the thing. Kids grow up. And you can't stop. Well, you can try to stop it, but it's kind of illegal and really bad.
Well, next week we are not going to be talking about, we're not going to do a comparison or a remake episode. We are going to be doing our 31 Days of Horror special. So please check that out. We've been talking about it all through October. We're finally going to do the roundup of all the movies we watched. And some of yours as well.
Yeah, there'll be
Yep.
a list or two. I know there's a couple people out there for sure.
Yeah, so there'll be a few of yours as well. And that will be our gigantic episode next week. But you can always tell us about the movies and things you would like for us to cover. There's been a few questions through our social media as of late. I had a request for another Star Wars episode. And we had so much fun last time comparing Force Awakens to New Hope. We might do that again, regardless of how this Last Jedi plays out, whether it looks like Empire or not. Maybe we'll just do it for shits and giggles, because you guys really like the Star Wars episodes, so might do it again. But
Yeah.
we'll get there. It might not be in a hurry. It's a case of when we can get to see these things sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to see Last Jedi first.
Yeah, and it hasn't even opened as of this recording. So, but
Soon.
if you have requests like that and episodes you want us to do, we do take fan challenges. If you haven't forgotten yet,
And it's been a while.
It's been a while since we've done a fan challenge, so send us your ideas through any of our social media. You can do that at Invasion Remake on Twitter. Our Facebook page, Invasion of the Remake, of course, go like that page, and Invasion of the Remake at gmail.com. You can send us your correspondence and questions and corrections and requests to that email address. And you can help out the people find the show. Find us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, TuneIn Radio, Player FM, Blueberry, Libsyn, Spreaker,
And frickin' YouTube.
Malavakwa.
Malavakwa.
Malavakwa. Malavakwa. Malavakwa. Malavakwa.
Sing it
Go,
again, Jay.
kid.
Sing it.
Malavakwa. Malavakwa. You all right over there? You all right? We're good?
I love the operatic take. Malavakwa.
Malavakwa.
And
I
that's why
blow
Jay
over it.
talks for a living and doesn't sing for a living.
That's right.
Why he doesn't like to sing on the Christmas episodes.
That's right. I've already requested no singing on the next one because Trish does all the writing for those.
That's my thing.
That's my time off.
Yeah.
She writes it, we perform it, and I make Sam edit it, and I'm like, I'm out. This is the 1 week I'm not doing any work.
That's
You
our
are.
Christmas present.
That's the present to me. If you got a moment, hop over to iTunes and and Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Help people find the show that way as well. If you like shows like this, support independent podcasts by telling people about it and leaving a review and a rating. It helps out the podcast and helps people find the show as well. So we need to get more earballs on the show. Everybody's on it today. I'm just pointing and it's like I'm a conductor. Malavakwa.
Malavakwa.
Yeah, I might be able to sing it better if I hadn't blown out my voice last night.
Yeah.
Jay, I've heard you sing. You actually sound pretty good today.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you have to blow out your voice more is what happens.
Yeah, so I just have to be a little gravelly to come out a little bit better.
Yeah, just spend the day before screaming.
Yeah.
And then you'll be fine.
That's right. I got to go to more concerts, apparently.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, darn.
If I have to do that, I'll do it. Well, any last thoughts about Transylvania 65000? we kind of made a good film out of shit.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we do.
That's what we do, is we find those little pieces of gold that are always in these movies and turn them into something that we turn them into a piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
What a great analogy. Thank you very much, Sam.
Yes.
How eloquent of you.
I know.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, no. Stop it.
We're panning for the gold to make that jewelry out of.
But yeah, no, I mean, this movie did have a great idea. It just had really shitty execution.
And that's the whole point of the show.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it had shitty execution, but I mean, what do you expect for somebody trying to free up frozen assets?
Right?
That's kind of a chemical company wanted to free up some money, and this is what happens.
Yeah, so they could spend it on foreign soil instead of domestically. So.
Yeah, or claim it as earnings, I think, in their review in the U.S. Books, right?
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, isn't so bad. I mean, there's a lot of locals who got cast and got
So
some
it's basically
payment out of it.
legal money laundering.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, that's that's a thing. I'm sure there's plenty of movies that were done for financial reasons like that.
And as I've stated before, probably every Evil movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, at some point we're coming after him. I don't know if there's any redeeming his movies, though.
No, didn't we discuss it one time? What we want, here's going to be the challenge for those movies is we have everything the same cast, the same general story, but all we do is we replace the director and the producer and then just see what we can do.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we could do House of the Dead. We'd never have to watch his fucking movie. We could just play the goddamn video game, because he apparently didn't.
Yep.
But to be fair, a lot of video game movies, it seems very apparent that people didn't play the game.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping
that happens a lot.
The Tomb Raider trailer certainly looks like those guys paid attention to the video game. I think there's been enough.
They are now. A lot of blowback happens.
I think there's been enough video game failures that trying to not do the game and do something different doesn't work.
And I think,
like, on paper, like Hitman's had 2 goes and has failed both times is because they don't do the game. And
Super Mario Brothers.
Tomb Raider hung on there despite not doing the game. I guess the conceits were there.
Well,
though.
in some respects, I think what you're getting now is you're getting people who may, when they were younger, played the video game, are growing up now to be some of the writers on these movies. So
yeah, when the video games have better plots than the movies, that's a real problem. I mean, when I think about Uncharted, I'm like, I don't know if I want a movie because you guys have got such spectacular games and such great storytelling that you really can't fuck that up. If you fuck that up, like, you're going to disappoint millions of people.
And that's the thing, when you're storytelling with a video game, your individual experience with that is going to be a different adventure.
Yeah.
And when you're sending out a movie, it's one adventure for one person's perspective. It's one version of what you think could happen.
Yeah.
So you're kind of really fighting a losing battle with a video game movie anyway.
By its very nature, it's true.
Oh, that could be a whole other episode, is video game movies.
Yeah, we could do that.
Now, if you guys want to hear it, let us know. Like, we'll sneak in a retrospective from time to time, so that could be something we'll explore down the road.
Exactly.
And, oh god, watch a bunch of shitty video game movies. I like the Resident Evil movies for a little while. The first 3 are good.
Some of them are fun.
Yeah.
How many have there been now? 7?
I lost count, to be honest. They stopped numbering.
But although it's kind of funny, because I
watched them all.
If you think about the Resident Evils as like levels to a video game, it's kind of sort of where it goes. You're going from, like, 1 was one level, 2 is another level, 3 is another level, 4 is another level.
They almost feel like completely different ideas. Like, they do keep changing their ideas very drastically. Yeah. You've got very much...
Oh, I didn't say it was a good video game. I'm saying it's a disjointed level video game.
You've got the very concentrated in the house horror movie in the first one, the zombie movie, and then it expands outwards into kind of an action horror in the second one, and then the third one's fucking Road Warrior.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
And it just gets even more bonkers from there. So it's always been a fascinating franchise to follow.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they're kind of staying with the idea of a video game is you have to kind of get bigger and bigger until you get to the final boss. So
yeah, boss fight.
Yeah, and even though they're each movie is very different, they're still true to their backstory.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, when they reference the backstory, it's all events that have happened, right? And they don't disregard them, and they don't just kind of retcon them and say, oh, no, that never happened.
Yeah, it's
right?
all Umbrella Corp.
Yeah.
It's all...
Well, I don't know. I'll save that for a video game episode.
Yep.
I think we've discovered that there's a lot to talk about there.
Yep.
So
Yes.
we might do that down the road for you gamers.
Yeah.
And we're gamers too. We like games.
little
Well,
bit.
me and Sam are.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit. I don't get to play them very often.
Yeah, no, it's a binge thing. I'll play a video game for like 4 or 5 weeks, and then I won't play any for 6 months. But when I do play, I do love to play.
Yeah.
And if I do play kind of the dumber ones. Like I don't play sort of the hardcore first person shooter.
Yeah, I'm playing South Park, The Fractured Butthole.
Ooh,
right
see,
now.
I'd play that. I love the Simpsons game.
This
that was
one,
fun.
Yeah, quick review. Not as good as the last one.
Simpsons and Family Guy are the type. Those are the type of games I would play.
This one feels a bit tedious, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I liked the previous one. I was laughing out loud. This one feels a bit tired, and I'm guessing South Park as a whole might feel that way after 20 years. But
Well, the worst part about South Park is all the stuff that they were making fun of is now kind of real. So it's hard.
yeah. You kept one of the movies you always wanted to remake on the show was Idiocracy, and I kept rallying against it.
And
the
now,
world did it for us. The world did it for us. It's happening. So there you go. Everything in that movie is actually less ridiculous than what we're existing in now. So
Exactly.
I still don't have to do it because it's happening. Just look in the paper.
And what's funny is I always had the idea if we were going to do it is to remake Idiocracy as a horror movie, and guess what?
Yeah, so we did it. We just did it. So
No, other humans fucking did it.
We're just recognizing the fact that the remake happened in real life.
Fucking morons did it.
So we won't be doing Idiocracy for a while until things level out.
Is it a
into
remake or a
normalcy.
self-fulfilling prophecy?
I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. I mean, I only wish
I think
could have
it-
gotten somebody as intelligent as Terry Crews in power. But what are you gonna do?
When rumors of The Rock running for the presidency are running out there, I actually kind of hope for that. It seems ludicrous
Yes.
to think about, but when you think about the guy that rags to riches story, I'm like, oh god, that would be awesome. And as we saw, a shitty, unpopular TV guy became president. Let's get a popular one.
Yeah.
Who's like literally awesome at everything. Although I don't know if he could stand the pay cut.
Yeah.
That's a huge pay cut for him.
It really is.
And he's too fucking busy to be president.
Yeah, I don't think he's really all that interested.
You'd have to
No.
take time off.
He'd be awesome though.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see like when
He could be governor of some place for a few years.
Yeah, but look how horribly that aged Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
We could have got a few more awesome movies before he became a senior citizen instead of governor.
See, that's the thing. And you see how when it ages people, you're like going, yeah, no, like having to deal with just garbage all the time is going to kill a person. And unluckily, it's not killing somebody fast enough.
I don't know. I think despite the fact that Arnold's movies are kind of getting buried on video shelves now, I think his career is really interesting at the moment.
You know, the funny thing is the stuff that I've seen of his since he sort of came back to acting, I've enjoyed for the most part.
I have too.
It's lower key, but
yeah. Every now and again he'll do something that's kind of reminiscent of his older movies, and they just kind of feel sad. And then you get something like Maggie. I'm like, oh. Yeah. This is, the lower key stuff, but it's some interesting stuff.
And that's what I think he should be like really leaning into.
Yeah, and even some of the sort of action stuff that he's done is his character's a lot less gung ho, and he thinks things through. He's still like sort of the tough guy, but it's smarter tough.
He's kind of leaning into how Clint Eastwood's career evolved, slowing down in the action stuff, but still being that man's man kind of character. And I don't know.
Trying to add some more depth.
Interesting,
to it.
but when you see something like Maggie, where he has a lot of depth and pathos in that movie, and through the Arnoldisms, anybody who says he can't act, watch that fucking movie, and then come back to me. Or don't. I don't want to hear it if you don't like it.
Yeah.
Your opinion no longer matters to me.
If you don't like it.
That's right.
Now, some untapped potential there
Yeah.
as he's getting older.
Well, that was Transylvania 65000. We'll be back next week. It's going to be a long one. But it's going to be a fun one, because
Yes.
if you haven't heard our last year's 31 Days of Horror, it was a fun episode to do, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of movies, some you've heard of, some you haven't, and hopefully some you will add to your own watch lists, and hopefully some of the ones that we're going to get from our audience who's participated might inform some of our future watch lists as well. So join us next week for our 31 Days of Horror wrap-up. I've been Jason.
I'm always Sam.
I continue to be Trish.
And we are out of here.
Is there anything happening around here?
I see. You want a woman?
No. Has there been any trouble, any strange goings-on?
Strange? You're looking for something kinky?
No. Let me put it this way. I've heard stories.
Stories about us?
I mean, Frankenstein.
Who?
Frankenstein. You know Frankenstein, don't you?
Frankenstein.
Yes, the monster.
Ah, dead Frankenstein. Jutta.
No.
Yes, Danko?
Have you seen Frankenstein lately?
Frankenstein? I don't think so. Oh, Mayor?
No, don't bother the mayor. Please don't.
This man is asking about the Frankenstein.
Frankenstein?
Frank Sinatra. I was asking about Frank Sinatra, really.
You understand the joke? It was just a silly joke. I was kidding.
Where have you been?
What's all this about? Nothing. I asked the clerk a simple question. What can I question? I asked about Frankenstein. What? Frankenstein, okay. I asked about Frankenstein.
We're in town 5 minutes and you ask a point-blank question like that?
Should I have eased into it?
What do you think?
I'm sorry. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, my friend was just kidding. That's an American joke. The big joke. I know.
No, wait.
This is Transylvania. Don't you want to ask us about Dracula?
Okay.
Or how about the creature from the Black Lagoon? Hey, I got Godzilla in the back room.
I like it. That's a good one.
How about the blob?